I've known the Gibson family forever and ever. I remember that Nell used to be, she actually ran the diocese, if you don't know. She was Bishop Moore's assistant, but she ran the show. So when I was ordained, May 18, 1981, Monday at 6 p.m. So that's how long I've known her and her family, of course. But it's a joy for me to be here. I know half the congregation. I know all of you, like I've been here. And Paula, Abby, and all of you. Peter, where is Peter? Peter, where are you? He's here. There he is, you know. I blame him for this because we met up and he told Anne-Marie. So I'm retired, remember that. You know, so. But Anne-Marie has been my friend, and some friends you don't see for a long time, so we haven't seen each other for. But when you talk to them or see them, there's like reserved a place in their heart for you. You just got to sneak in. So there's always a place open. So ever since I met you, we don't see each other that much. But it doesn't matter. When you hear her voice or see her face, then you slide right into the place in her heart that is reserved for you. So it's a special blessing. When I met her, we met at Sing Sing, as she told you. She was pregnant. And we were talking about her. I said, can you believe she's here pregnant? What if something happens? And she didn't. She was unaware. You know, we're thinking, is she out of her mind to come to Sing Sing pregnant? Like, what's up with that? And then I found out we're kindred spirits. That, you know, that. And she bike rides. I bike rides. She used to come when I was at Lincoln, the prison on Central Park. She would bike ride there. Like, who bike rides to prison? You know, she would. So it's a joy. It's a blessing for me to come and to share with you a few words about this season of Pentecost that runs right into almost Thanksgiving. It's the longest season of the church that just goes on and on. We forget. That's where the power is, that the power of Pentecost, that we proclaim, even in the midst of turbulent times like these, when we feel discouraged. Jesus seems to have known that we're going to go through this because he says to the disciples in the gospel that we just read, he says, pray always, do not lose heart. But you feel like saying, Jesus, are you for real? Are you serious? Do you know what's going on? Do you really know what's going on? You know, like Ukraine and Gaza and Palestine and Sudan and Congo. You want us to pray? Say, pray always. Do not lose heart. Do not lose heart. Because we know what we know. That hope and joy and power is real. It's there. And we claim it because Pentecost this season, we proclaim the power of the resurrection. When the disciples are terrified, they're scared, they think the gig is up, Jesus is gone, it's over. Then he breaks through human history and comes to them and says, peace be with you. He said, what? He said, peace be with you. As the Father sent me, so I send you. Go, just go. Go to Sing Sing, go to St. Mark's, go wherever you go. Go proclaim the power of Pentecost. Because the world needs it. Say, pray always. Do not lose heart. Sometimes people think priests pray. We struggle just like everybody. We struggle. I struggle with prayer. I struggled with it before. Pray always. You hear the echo of those words of Jesus. And you want to push back and say, Jesus, I can't do it. He says, come on, do it. Pray. Just pray. What about if we're worried and fear and panicked and what's going on? What are we going to do? I have a group of, since I retired, there's a group that I belong to. We're called Romeo. That's our group. Retired old men eating out. That's Romeo. So we meet once a month for lunch, and last time we met, you know, they want to talk about the president and his hair and his tie. I said, okay, if you keep that up, I'm going to get up and walk out. And they said, come on. I said, how do you know about his tie? Do you really have time for that? What are you doing? one of the guys, Michael. I said, Michael, what are you doing with your life? He says, can you believe the I said, time out. If you do that, I'm going to get up and walk. And I did. I said, well, you mentioned it one more time. And I got up and left. He said, come on, please come back. I said, no, I'm not coming back unless you stop talking about the hair and his suit and his tie. What are you doing with your life, Michael? What are you doing? What are we doing? What are you doing with your faith? What has God called you to do? Not spend hours of time on TikTok and Instagram. I don't have any of that. I don't even have WhatsApp. And my family is so upset with me because, I'm from Uganda, originally from Uganda. And they, it's for free. Get WhatsApp. I say, because, for free. I don't want to talk to you. That's why I don't, That's why I get a card. The calling card is 5 minutes. So when I call, I still buy those cards, those you call international cards. 5 minutes, your time is up. We're gone. I'm not on Instagram and TikTok and WhatsApp. You tell them that? And there we go. And I'm back. So when I live in Arizona, Tucson in Arizona, and I drove from Tucson to El Paso, from El Paso to Albuquerque, from Albuquerque to Oklahoma City, and then to St. Louis, and got here. It took 4 days. And when you're 4 days by yourself, you have a lot of time to think. Oklahoma takes for hours in Pennsylvania. And when you stop, there are farms and cows everywhere in Texas. If you've driven that, you see cows for hours and hours. And when you stop, take pictures, cows come to the fence. They do take pictures of them. And then when you're driving from El Paso to Albuquerque, there is a customs border check. They pull everybody up. So they pull me. The lady pulled me over and said, where are you going? I'm driving a rental car. It's a California plate. I have a New York driver's license. I said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to New York. I said, you live in Tucson? I said, yeah. But you have a New York driver's license. You have a California plate. Do you mind if I check your trunk? I said, sure. So the officer said, what's in it? I said, my folding bike. He said, you have a bike? I said, yeah. You have a bike in the trunk. If you have driven that road, Mexico is right there. You can see the wall. The wall is right there. People are coming into Juarez to shop. They're walking back and forth. So I said, so what do you do? I said, I'm retired. I said, but you're retired and then you're going to New York? You live in Tucson, you have a New York driver's license? So she called her supervisor. So we sat, she's a grandmother, I'm a grandfather. I told her about my kids. She told me about her kids, her grandkids. She has 3, I have 6. I said, you have to catch up with me. In my fear, in my panic, then I had to pray for her and for me and for where we're going with it. The words of Jesus, to pray always, even for ICE agents. Her name is Fiores. She said, have you been to Mexico? I said, yep. I went with Paula. We went to Mexico with Paula. She said, you've been to Mexico? I said, yeah. I said, when? So I told her. Been there twice, actually, with Bishop Mary. We went to, but not here. So it didn't add up. Like, who is this? If I were her, I wouldn't trust me either. I would think, you look suspicious. You live in Tucson, you have a New York driver's license, you're driving a California plated car, and you're going to visit your grandchildren. I said, yeah. And I'm going to preach at St. Mark's. I told her about St. Mark's. I did. I told her about St. Mark's. said, so you're retired, but you're still working? I said, no. When you're a priest, you don't retire. You can still preach. She didn't, it didn't make sense. When things don't make sense, when you're panicked, pray. When you're worried, worship. And when you're afraid, tap into your faith. From fear to faith, from worry to worship, from panic to prayer. That's what Jesus is dealing with. That's what he's dealing with. He knows that we're going to face times when, like Michael, Romeo, the Romeo guys, they want to spend hours talking about nonsense. Talking about this and that, who is running, who is not, and shut down, and the president. Say, Michael, stop. What are you doing with your life? When you wake up in the morning, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do with your faith? What have you done with it? I have a friend, her name is Susan, in Tucson. I bring her breakfast every morning, but it's hot, so you have to get there. You have to get up early to go bike riding. I get her at 4:30 or 5 o'clock. So sometimes when I show up, she's asleep. So I have to wake her up. Sometimes she panics when I wake her up. So she said, so you're going to New York? I said, yeah. When are you coming back? So I told her. So she gave me a piece of paper with how much breakfast costs for the days I'm gone. She didn't. So we had to calculate how much it's going to cost. So I got a gift card. We worked it out, how much it's going to cost. I said, I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. I'm worried about her now because, the heat, people die in Tucson. 10 years ago, we were losing about maybe 160. Now we are almost up to 600 people dying from heat stroke. Where are you? Where is the church? What are we doing? What have you done with it? What have you done with what God has given you? With the power of Pentecost. With that power that Jesus challenges us to say, pray always. Jane Goodall just died, right? And Jane Goodall, she wrote a book on hope. And I was reading it in preparation for this sermon. And somebody asked Jane, and it's in a book, so I'm going to read you the passage here. Somebody asked her, said, Jane Goodall, how do you have hope with climate change? And everything is, she said, I have to have hope to do what I do. So I want to read to you what she answered, her answer. A reporter said to her, how do you have hope? I don't know if, okay. The question I'm often asked, do you honestly believe there is hope? This was a question to her, to Jane Goodall. I'm able to answer truthfully, yes. I believe we have a window of time during which we can start healing the harm we have done. What is this hope? I still believe that keeps me motivated to carry on, fighting for the good fight. What I really mean by that is hope. So what has hope? She has hope. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We have hope that we can change that. We can change Domestic Violence Awareness Month. October is St. Francis Month, October 4th. St. Francis. I call the man of hope. And it's also the Immigration Act was passed October 3rd, 1965. Remember that? President Johnson signed it down here liberally. There's a lot of hope, but we give up and become hopeless. So let me close by sharing with you what Peter knows about this. I used to say it all the time. There are 3 prayers I say every day. I say it in the morning, I say it at night, I say it when I'm driving, I say it when I'm on the road. There are 3 prayers I'm going to leave with you. Jesus says to them, pray always. Do not be weary, but it's hard. So the first prayer is, thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you for my breath. Thank you for Susan. That prayer I said with Susan in the park in the morning if I bring her breakfast. Thank you. Thank you for St. Mark's. Thank you for your friends. Thank you for the sunset. Thank you for the sunrise. If you ever come to Tucson, we have the most incredible sunrise and sunset because we're in a desert. So anywhere you are, and it's flat, so you can bike ride anywhere to see the sunset, sunrise. Thank you. Thank you for being here today. We forget to do that. That's the first prayer. The second prayer, what is the second prayer, Peter? Thank you. Forgive me. That's the second prayer. Forgive me for that's hard. For the screw-ups that we do. Because all of us screw up. For the things we did and for the things we didn't do. So the first prayer is thank you. Second prayer is forgive me. And the last prayer is help me be better. Thank you. Forgive me and help me be better. That's what Jesus is telling them. Remember, they had asked him, teach us to pray. Like John taught us to have. They asked him before, they said, teach us to pray. They said, our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom. Maybe some of you use that. Thy kingdom come, thy will. Sometimes when you pray like that, you can actually breathe the prayers at a traffic light. When somebody cuts you off and you don't cuss them out. I had my collar when I do that. I cover up the collar so they don't sound like this. Then you pray real quick. Thank you. Forgive me. Help me be better. You can whisper it. You can sigh it at night when you're desperate at 3 in the morning when you wake up. You can't go to sleep because you're terrified. Thank you. Forgive me. Help me be better. That's it. That's Jesus teach us how to pray. This time he takes them on. Before they had asked him to teach them how to pray. This time he says to them, pray always. Don't be weary. We can do this, people. We can. We can do it. Thank you. What's the second part? Forgive me. And the third? That's it. Thank you. Forgive me. Help me be better. Thank you. Forgive me. Help me. So when you say it, eventually, sometimes when you forget, the body does it by itself. It sort of catches it. And then you find yourself praying without even realizing you're praying. Because you're terrified. You're panicked. From panic to prayer. From worry to worship. From fear to faith and hope. Yes. You know that book, the book that Jane Goodall wrote? It's the same title as Pope Francis. He wrote a book on hope too. I didn't think he could do the book with the same title, but there is a book. Read it. It's good. It's good. Hope, joy, comfort. That's who we are. That's who we are. No matter what's going on, we are people of hope and joy and love and laughter and sunset and sunrise. We do that. We can hear the words of Jesus saying, pray always. Pray always. Even when you don't feel like it. Your heart, your body, your mind. That's it. I'm done.